Welcome back, everybody. We're going to be smoking up a big, beautiful beef shank, also known as Thor's hammer. So y'all hang around, because this is going to be good.
Welcome to South Fire BBQ.
Okay, first thing we want to do is get this trimmed up really well. As you can see, there is a lot of silver skin, some excess fat, and that kind of thing on here. So what we're going to do is just get off some of this heavy layer of fat. And we're going to try not to lose any more meat than we have to. But this silver skin is really, really tough. And there's no way it's going to render down throughout the cooking process. And this is a very big beef shank. It's about 9.5 pounds. Most of them you'll find they'll run 4, 5, maybe 6 pounds. So this is about double what most of your beef shanks you'll find weigh. Now this takes some time, and you just want to go nice and slow. Try not to lose any more meat than you have to. It's going to take a few minutes, but it'll be worth it. Now, sometime you'll see these called a beef shank. Sometimes they'll be called a beef volcano. And of course, most popular term you'll hear is a Thor's hammer. And if you don't already know, we'll show you why it's called a Thor's hammer here in a little while. This is really tough stuff, and this knife is razor sharp. So I strongly suggest you start out with a good sharp knife, because you're going to need it. And all we're going to do is go all the way around and get off all of this stuff. Now the bone is right there, and so we don't need to worry too much about that. But all of this silver skin up here and this extra fat, we want to take our time and get all of that off. Just like that. And I'm going to go all the way around this. And y'all don't need to watch me do 20 minutes on trimming the silver skin off a beef shank. So I'm going to finish doing this, and we'll be back in just a few minutes. Okay, I've got most of our silver skin and excess fat and all off of here. Now, the next thing that we want to do is we want to French this bone. And what you want to do is just come up about, maybe 4 inches or so. And we're just going to cut all the way around. And I'll show you. There's a piece of silver skin I missed taking off. We're just going to come all the way around. Just like that. I'm going to trim this little piece up. Now, a lot of people think that the only reason you do this is for looks, because it looks really cool and it looks like a Thor's hammer when you get through. There's actually several very important reasons that you want to do this also. This part up here is a lot thinner, obviously, than this down here. So it's going to cook a whole lot faster in the smoker, and it's going to overcook before this gets done. So it's going to be ruined anyway, okay? Another reason that you want to expose this bone up here, the bone transmits a lot of heat to the inside of the meat. So by exposing this area of the bone, it lets it heat up a lot quicker and a lot better, so it can transfer heat to the inside and help this thing cook. This is going to take a long time to cook. These are extremely tough. So it's going to take a long time, and that bone will help transmit some heat to the inside so it can cook from the inside out as well as the outside in, okay? And then another reason is that it gives you something to hang on to while we're putting it in the smoker during the wrapping phase of this and all that. So there's several reasons that you want to French this bone besides just for looks. Now, as I mentioned, this is a very tough cut of meat. And if you're not familiar with the shank, this is the front shank. It comes from the front quarter, and it's part of the upper lower leg. And so it does a tremendous amount of work, as you can imagine, while the cow or bull is running around and grazing and so forth. So it does a whole lot of work. So it's a very tough cut of meat because of that. But the good part about it is that also, because it does so much work, it is loaded with collagen. And collagen is our friend. It's very similar to like beef cheek or barbacoa, something like that. It takes a while to do it, but once we break that collagen down, it forms a nice, beautiful, flavorful texture, like a gelatin type texture to it. And that's one of the great things about these is not only the flavor's fantastic, but you get that gelatinous type texture to it and all. So, and that is about all we need to do right there as far as Frenching our bone. I'm going to clean that up a little bit there. I want to get a little bit off right there and just even it up some. Now, if you have a few little spots down in these crevices of that silver skin, don't worry about it, because if you try and get all of that out down in there, you're going to butcher this thing to death. And so I'm going to clean this bone up a little bit here, and then we're going to come back and I'll show you how to tie this little baby up, okay? So we'll be right back. Okay, we have got our beef shank all cleaned up, and we're ready to get it tied up now. So what I've done, I've laid some kitchen twine down, and then we're just going to take our little shank and going to lay him right over like that. Now you can see how these muscles are coming apart. When this is cooked, it's even going to be worse. They're just going to be like fall apart. And so if you don't tie this up ahead of time, you're going to have a real problem when you bring it back in from the smoker with it just falling apart on you. It's going to be very hard to transfer it anywhere to a platter or anything like that. So I strongly suggest that you go ahead and and tie it up. You don't have to do it, but when you tie this, you want to just loop your string there just 2 or 3 times so it'll hold for you. And then just put a little simple double knot in there. And then one more time here, we'll show you. I'm just going to loop that through, loop it through again, and loop it through one more time. And then we'll pull it down good and snug. And see there, it'll hold for you. You don't have anybody stick the finger on it. And then we'll put our second knot on top there. And I mentioned earlier about these shanks coming, I forgot to do my loop, didn't I? About these shanks coming from the front leg. I just want to make sure you understand these can come from the hind leg as well. So in case I failed to mention that earlier, I stand corrected. Okay, and pull him down good and tight. And get our second knot in here. And that's all there is to that. And then we'll take and trim this excess off. We don't need those in our way. Just like that. Now we are ready for our seasoning. And I'm going to rinse my hands off real quick and we'll get our seasoning on here. Okay, now that we got her tied up and all fit and pretty, we're going to get our seasoning on here. The seasoning that I'm using, I use just a simple SPG, a salt, pepper, garlic mix on here. If you have a favorite rub that you like for beef, then you can certainly use any type of rub you want to use. And we just want to pat that in where it'll stick good. Don't rub it or it'll form clumps with you. Just pat it in a little bit, like so. Now, as I was saying, this rub is just an SPG, and what I use on it, everybody's got their own recipe for salt, pepper, garlic rubs. On mine, I use 4 parts black pepper. I use a medium grind black pepper, like a table grind. I use 4 parts black pepper. I use 2 parts kosher salt and 1 part granulated garlic. And I'll put the ingredients up above for you so you can have them. But now that's the way I like to do mine because that makes it a little bit pepper forward. And I found that if I put more salt than that in there, a lot of times I run a chance of over salting my meat. And I can always add salt later, but I can't take it away. The pepper, I like it being a little forward, first of all, because I like black pepper. But the second thing is the black pepper will help us build a little bit of a bark on here, a nice bark. And it'll also help a lot with helping us develop a nice color on here. So that's why I do my rub that way. But like I say, if you don't like black pepper very much, then you can back off of it a little bit. If you like a lot of garlic, add a little, just kind of make it your own. But that's what I use on mine. and I find it works really, really well for me. Now, there we go. It's a good dose of that. I have that in, not very well, do I? Let's get a little bit down here. We don't want to be stingy with it, do we? Okay, there we go. All prettied up and ready for the smoker. Now I'm going to smoke this tomorrow because obviously I will not have enough time today. It's going to take quite a while to smoke this. I don't know exactly how long. It'll be done when it gets done, but it's going to take hours. So I'm going to wrap this up and put it in the fridge, and I will see y'all tomorrow. Okay, we are out at the pergola, and I've already got our beef shank in the smoker, and we're going to be using pecan for our smoke today, and we're going to be running the smoker at 275 all the way through the cook. So we'll check back in a couple hours and see how things are going. Okay, it has been 2 hours, and we've reached an internal temperature of 135 degrees. So we just want to take a quick look and see how things are going. I know we're not anywhere near ready to wrap or anything. We just want to take a look and make sure everything's going okay. And it is looking beautiful. So we're going to let it go a little while longer, and we'll check back in a little while. Okay, it has been 4.5 hours, and our beef shank has reached 160 degrees, and it's looking absolutely beautiful. So we're going to get this out and get it wrapped up where we can get it nice and tender. Okay, we have got our shank out of the smoker. It's been in there about 4.5 hours, and it's reached an internal temperature of 160 degrees. Our color is absolutely gorgeous on here. The bark is set up nice. So we're ready to get this thing wrapped up and start getting it good and tender. This is a real simple process. All I'm going to do, I've got some melted lard here, and I'm going to take and just base this thing up really good with this lard. The lard won't change the flavor of it any, but it will keep it moist throughout this wrapping process, and it'll add a really nice silky texture to our shank. It's really a great thing to use. We'll get a little bit on the bottom here. We've coated nice and well. And that's all we need to do with that. Now, you want to be a little careful when you wrap this. This bone down here will poke a hole in your aluminum foil. And as you'll notice, I've got double layers of foil, and I've got the shiny side facing in, so our dull side that reflects less heat is facing out. And so all we're going to do, we're going to pull this up, and there again, be careful on that bone. And we'll just get him pulled right up like so. Tuck our little sides in. Just like that. And we are ready to go back in the smoker. So I'm going to set this back in there. Probably going to take another, I don't really know. This is a very large shank, so maybe another 5, maybe 6 hours. But I'll be monitoring the temperature, and when it gets done, it'll be done. So we'll see y'all back in a little bit. Okay, we have finally got our beef shank out of the smoker and unwrapped. It was in there for 5 hours wrapped, and we reached an internal temperature of 205 degrees, and it is probe tender. So we're ready to take a look and see how it turned out. Well, the first thing we'll do is get rid of these strings that we put on here. Now, one thing that I wanted to point out about this shank, this is a very large shank, and we smoked this for 4.5 hours, and then we wrapped it, put it back in for 5 hours. So this is 9.5 hours, which I expected it to be at least that, if not more. But it was a pretty long cook, but it's a pretty big shank. But one thing I wanted to point out to you was, if you'll notice on this, you can see how tender it is already. If you'll notice on this, there's 2 bones. That means this is from the foreshank. It's from the front leg. If it was a rear shank from the hind leg, it would only have 1 big bone in it. So that's how you can always tell. If it has 2 bones, it's from the front leg. If it only has 1 big bone, it's from the hind leg. So let's just see what we got here. And you can see this is just shredding up. Boy, our bark, got a beautiful bark on here. And a lot of that has to do with that little bit of extra black pepper that I use in my SPG. This thing is pretty hot. I let it cool down. I let it rest for about 1 hour, and it got down to about 150. So I thought by the time I got the cameras and everything set up and going, it'd be cooled down enough. I can handle it, but it's still pretty darn warm. Oh yeah, there we go. Okay, I am dying to try a little piece of this. Damn good. Damn good. It's almost, it's very similar to like a pot roast, like a chuck roast. Something like that. The flavor. But it's got more of a silky gelatin type texture to it. But it is good, good, good. Very good. I've still got another string on there. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get the rest of this pulled off and get it all on a plate. And we'll be back in just a minute. Now, if you're thinking about how to serve this up, you might consider some homemade tacos or a beefy topping for some mashed potatoes. How about a classic recipe served with some creamy polenta? It can simply be served on a bed of egg noodles, or one of my personal favorites, a big pulled beef sandwich. No matter how you decide to serve it, a delicious smoked beef shank is something your whole family will enjoy. So y'all give this a try, because I guarantee you'll like it.
Thanks for stopping by. See y'all soon.